if I could just get your thoughts. I mean, what do you make of these allegations that, you know, they're going to use chemical weapons? The Russians, right? They're being accused of that, and these mobile crematoriums. Because on the one hand, they're saying the Russians are so evil, they just shoot people dead in the street and leave the bodies there. And then at the same time, they're saying they're so sophisticated, they have mobile crematoriums to cover it up. I mean, yeah, hypothetically, both of those things could be true. It's just there. It's you know, within 2 days of each other. I'm struggling to understand what's going on here. You know, what can we believe and what can't we believe?
Well, Russia is a nation that is a signatory to the Geneva Conventions, and has certain duties and responsibilities and obligations, you know, that are created by international humanitarian law. And it's incumbent upon Russia, just like it is incumbent upon any warring party, to fully investigate any potential allegation of war crime.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the key aspects of an investigation is preservation of evidence, and the body is perhaps the best evidence of a war crime. The body contains inherently the evidence of time of death, nature of death, things of that nature. So if you're going around cleaning up the battlefield of civilian bodies and you're burning them without adequately recording every aspect of a potential crime, then one could say that you are you're cleaning up, you know, you're cleaning up the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if these mobile crematoriums are true, Russia has something to answer for. Why do you have them? What do you use them for? How do you document the bodies that are being burned? I mean,
Right.
Why are you burning the bodies? Why can't you put them in mass interment, which is common practice, and then later on, after the war is done, you can disinter them and then seek identification of the bodies and return the remains to the families, something of that nature. But to burn them implies that you're afraid of something. Are you afraid of admitting to your own population the extent of the losses you've suffered on the battlefield? That's why you're burning the bodies of your own soldiers without returning them home. I just can't imagine. This is why I just don't think it's true. I mean, common sense and logic has to come into place. Russia is not this is not Boris and Natasha. This is Russia. This is Mother Russia. And what I mean by Mother Russia, this is a nation that has an Orthodox church, deeply religious people.
Right.
And these are Christian people who don't believe in cremating bodies. They believe in the bodies being buried, and there's a ceremony for returning the body to the earth. And there's a belief that the soul is connected to the body, and if the body is burned in a crematorium, the soul does not go to heaven. So you're asking me to buy into the notion that the Russian government is doing something where they gain no advantage, but they're undermining some very basic fundamentals of their society. So I just think it's an absurdity. And unless somebody has an actual photograph of one of these mobile crematoriums and showing them in operation and providing documentation of why the Russians are doing this, I just have to call it out as BS. Because what they're doing with this story is you're getting a Russian mother now to start to make phone calls. Hey, are you burning my son's body? Is my son's body going to come home? What's going on? And you're creating the potential for, internal dissent. So I think the story is just is total garbage. I don't trust it at face value because it doesn't pass the smell test. It just stinks. The same thing with the chemical weapons. I mean, first of all, what is the origin of this story? Is it that? But I mean, the timing of it. Nobody was talking about the use of chemical weapons when this war first started.
Mm-hmm.
The only time people started talking about the use of chemical weapons is after Russia took control of biological research facilities and started accusing the United States of the potential of having an offensive biological program. the reaction of the United States at that point was to say, oh no, no. The Russians are saying this because they're planning.
So it's deflection.
A biological attack. So we flipped the script and we projected this onto the Russians. And then we expanded that to bring in the Skripals from England and Navalny from Russia and the allegations of the use of the world's most deadly toxic chemical agent that didn't kill any of them. And now we're saying, and they could, we know they've used chemical weapons in the past. So now they're going to use chemical weapons to make up for their failure on the battlefield. And by doing this now, they've done something very dangerous, because now the Nazis, I don't believe the Nazis in Germany or in Ukraine have the ability to carry out a Novichok-based chemical false flag. I don't think they have possession of that agent. But we now see, for instance, a nitric acid plant being blown up, and in a cloud of nitric acid being released that could have harmed people. Of course, the first thing out of the Ukrainians' mouth was the Russians did this, but the Russians said, no, the Ukrainians did this. The Azov people wired it up and blew it. Now the Russians are saying the Azov people are wiring up a chlorine plant and are going to blow that and create a toxic cloud. And so the danger in the United States and NATO going down this disinformation, propaganda about chemical and biological weapons use is that you now have the Azov battalion and the Nazis believing that they can carry out a false flag event using a lesser toxic substance and create the potential for the United States now to intervene, because Joe Biden has said the use of chemical or biological weapons is a red line, and there will be a significant reaction. And we've seen that the United States is incapable of telling the truth. We know that the intelligence services say, we're going to say whatever the heck we want as long as we get the outcome that we want. It doesn't matter if it's true, we're just going to say it. So now, and we've seen their past practice in Syria, where they have allowed Syrian rebels to create a narrative of chemical weapons used by the Syrian government to create the conditions for military intervention by the United States, Great Britain, and France. So there's a track record of very bad things coming from the United States failing to be assiduous in its dissemination of intelligence-based information. When it should be that when the United States says something, the world should say, yep, believe them 100% because they've been right every time before. The United States always tells the truth. Right now, the United States opens its mouth. If I were a betting man, I would bet that they're lying. You know what? If Vegas took that bet, I'd be a rich man, because all the United States knows how to do is lie. We don't know how to tell the truth anymore, because it's all a game of public perception, shaping perception. We're afraid of reality. Sometimes reality is complex. Sometimes reality is nuanced. Reality isn't black and white, it's gray. That's okay. Just tell the truth. People are smart enough, once they receive the information, to understand what the right thing to do is. You really don't have to explain it. You just have to be honest with people, trust them, empower them with the information, and they will, by and large, tend to make the right decision. But we don't trust anybody. We want to manipulate everything.